Hello and welcome to another episode of European Wrestling All Stars in the CornellVerse. I am Stan Smog and this is my voiceover segment in the pre-show. Now, a little bit of an update about what's going on. I've had a bit of a panic, unfortunately. So, a bunch of my wrestlers, I'm going to take this as me doing quite well, actually. A bunch of my wrestlers have started to be signed to touring contracts in Japan. Now, I already had a few on my roster that were touring in Japan. One being Karen Bilius, whose gimmicks being like the Europe's strongest woman, something like that. She's in a 40, so I wouldn't have probably used her that much anyway. But I thought that was a pretty cool gimmick. But it just turned out I couldn't use her because all my events were booked on a Friday, and that clashes with the touring contract. So that's already been happening, and I didn't feel it was much of a big deal. After the last event, P.E. Barnes got signed to a touring contract by Burning Hammer, it was, for those that know the Cornellverse. I believe that's the equivalent of like a Noah or something like that. But yeah, he got signed, and I thought that was quite cool because P.E. Barnes is my ring general, but he's quite old compared to some other members of the roster, and he's not really factored into my plans long term. So I thought, you know what, that's cool. That's a good experience for him. He'll probably come back slightly better. So you know what, I'm fine with that. And then Zofia Jankovic got signed to a touring contract, and she's like one of my main people at this point. I couldn't really do shows without Zofia. Well, like, I guess I could, but it'd been a challenge, and I'd rather not. And then Hercules followed right after. Oh, and Hercules has been signed to a touring contract with Black Canvas, who I've actually since got into an excursion deal with. I've contacted them and said, would you like to send people to me on excursion? I'll send them to you on excursion. Just because I've got quite a few young members of my roster that I don't really have use for, and I feel like I should be sending them somewhere. So I'm going to send them to Japan, basically. That's my idea. But yeah, Hercules is on tour, Zofia's on tour, and a few others are on tour as well. So what I've had to do is I've changed all my events to Saturday events, which is more what I'd do anyway. I wouldn't book on a Friday, I'd book on a Saturday. That's how it's normally done. Yeah, from my experience. So it's not that big of a deal. I've basically moved everything to a Saturday event now, just so I can still use people. And hopefully it works out fine. But yes, that's the major update. But let's get on with the Berlin Brawl. You call it the Bash in Berlin then. The Berlin Brawl. EWA Berlin Brawl. Headlined with a bit of a double header, because not only do we have a world title match, or global title match, I guess you could say, because that's what it's called in EWA, but also I'm going to finally blow off the feud I started with, which was Hercules and Bam Bam. But we're going to get into it. So let's see how the show goes. Now, I'm going to open up with a massive 6-woman tag team match. Now, I was playing around with a bit of a promo ahead of time, but it didn't really work out for me because I thought it would have been well placed as the opener in the end. So that's what I've ended up doing, and it has worked out. 54 ratings, pretty good. You'll notice a new face in this. So, last time, you may remember, Blair got a title match against Zofia, and then there was an attack afterwards by the Viper Squad, and Zofia watched. My original plan was for Zofia to get involved, turn slightly more face, team with the Dublin Girls against the Viper Squad and the heel. But I'm pivoting because I feel like Zofia is going to be a better place for a heel now, given how Cassie seems to. I mean, there you go. You can see there. Cassie has a strong connection with the female demographic who really like her winning. So I'm going to lay into that. I'm probably going to go Cassie as my face, Zofia as my main heel in the women's division. So because I've pivoted, Viper didn't get involved last week. So not Viper, sorry. Zofia didn't get involved last week in the attack. She stayed back and watched it happen. So now I want you to imagine maybe this will be put out on social media instead. Dublin Girls have a little bit of a promo together where it's like, well, what, you stood there and you watched us get attacked. If you had any honour, like it seemed like you had respect for us, you would have got in there, you would have stopped the attack. We're not saying you had to take outside or anything like that. You just had to stop them wailing on us. Since you clearly can't be trusted, not only are we doubling down on our efforts to take that belt off you, we've got a tag partner. And I went looking for a tag partner. So I wanted to bring someone in. My backup was going to be Serena, my hometown girl kind of thing, but I kind of felt like this needed something bigger. So I thought an import would do. And I found one in particular, someone called Maya, who was in Japan. And because she's actually in the same company that Zofia 2 is with now, so it's kind of worked out quite well. You could imagine how this plays out in real life. I'm on the phone to Zofia. Oh, you're on tour in Japan, aren't you? Could you have a chat with Mia, see if she's interested in maybe coming over? And yeah, so she's going to be the Dublin Girls' surprise tag partner here, and which is good. I didn't actually know this, but she also has a strong connection with young female demographic. So how I imagine it playing out is, I wanted like a great match, and Zofia standing out as always. But I wanted maybe, I didn't want Maya to pin Zofia, but wanted Maya maybe to catch Viper with maybe like a victory roll, something like that, something out of nowhere, a surprise. Picks up the victory for the faces. They run off to the back, and then that leaves Zofia looking fuming. Now, hopefully she's still available for next month, because I would like to do Maya and Zofia as like a really good match, potentially. Maya just seems like this, almost like a what's a face, a Rio type. Though I think, hope she's not as small, and she's not according to the stats anyway. But yeah, so that kind of vibe where she's quite fun and bubbly and all that. Yeah, there you go. Bubbly babyface is a gimmick anyway. And yeah, it's a pretty fun match, and hopefully it gels quite well with the dark Zofia. So yeah, great way to start our show there. 54 ratings, pretty strong. And then we're going to get something a little bit darker, a little bit more cryptic. Eva Berlin sitting in a dark room, and she's pushing over pictures. So I kind of wrote it out there, but basically the idea is I wasn't that sold in this promo. I just needed to set up the main event. Eva Berlin has like a line of photo frames, and in those photo frames are each of the members of the Masters of Evil. So imagine like Crusher von Steinberg, Kronos, Colossus, Witch Doctor, Demolition Drebin. And she starts to talk very cryptically still about the downfall of the Masters of Evil. From dark domination to damning defeat was my main line there. I thought that was quite good. But yeah, she is pushing over everyone defeated. So she pushes over Crusher von Steinberg. Kruge the Revenger has beaten them. She pushes over Witch Doctor. Paolo Gandolfini has beaten them. She pushes over Kronos the Conqueror. This was our opportunity to bring in a new era of shadow on the EWA. But alas, the stars did not align, and Kronos was unsuccessful. So we today stand as a broken force. Tonight, the two remaining disciples of the Masters of Evil, Demolition Drebin and the Colossus, will be tested. And just like my other failures, it will not be forgiven if you are defeated, unless a sacrifice is made to redeem them. Tonight will either be the making of or the destruction of the Masters of Evil. So this is just setting up my two matches tonight. Demolition Drebin will face on Kruge the Revenger for the global title. Universal title, I think it's called. Universal title, yeah. And Paolo Gandolfini will take on the Colossus. So it's just another 2 matches to get the Masters of Evil out there, but things haven't really been going the Masters of Evil's way, have they? Coming up next, I'm glad this actually got a really good rating, better rating than I thought. Magnus Cage takes on someone I've not been using, Jason Dempsey. Now he's someone I've seen on the roster, but I've not really had for his profile. Kind of tells a story of someone who like had potential and like had a bit of a following, but he always tapers off and becomes a mid carder. And the same thing happens in EWA. At the start of the game, it looks like he came in at one point, was hot, cooled right down, is now just a mid carder, and I've actually not used him yet, so it's kind of really been in keeping there. So I thought, because he looks like he's like a brawler. He's like, it sounds like he's a Pete Dunne type, if that makes sense. So, and he's got a female manager called Christina. So I thought, you know what, let's put him in there with Magnus Cage. Magnus Cage needs to build up some more victories. So he's going to have a match with Jason Dempsey, and he's going to pick up the victory with a figure 4 leg lock. Magnus Cage is continuing winning. He's building up momentum. He's going to be massive. So he picks up the victory here, celebrates, leaves, leaving Jason Dempsey looking a bit broken and disheartened with his manager. And then, as they're leaving ringside, the music of the lady's favourite, Michael Gregory, hits. And he walks out, he saunters out, all cocky, you know the character now, bit Rick Rude-ish. He's actually got 2 defeats in a row. He's been pinned twice in a row by the Intercontinental Champion, Bret Heartbreak. Not too bad, considering he's a champion. But he's double defeated. He needs to pick up a victory. He's going to start making his entrance, all cocky. He doesn't deserve to be this cocky. But then he's going to see Christina with Jason, and he's going to start walking over to her. And he's the lady's favourite. So he's like, "Oh, do you like what you see? You like what you see?" Little wink, and Jason Dempsey's going to step forward, and they're not going to touch each other, but he's going to look like he's about to bang Jason Dempsey. He might even rear up, kind of thing, and Michael Gregory's going to give it the old, "Oh, sorry, pal. I didn't mean anything by it," and then just sort of brushes him off, slides into the ring, ready for his match because he's in action next. Starting a new storyline. Still your girl. Right, I found something for Jason to do. I just want Michael's brought in basically in the title picture and in this main storyline. I do actually need him really to build up some momentum because he's a great act actually. And I'm going to enjoy booking Lady's Favourite. So I just want him to start doing something. So, very predictably, we're going to have Still Your Girl. He's going to go for Christina, Jason Dempsey's manager. 36 isn't too bad. And then we're going to have a match kind of building off last episode, where it was Michael Gregory teaming with Magnus Cage versus Bret Heartbreak and Eugen Semper. And in this match, he's going to pick up a victory against Eugen Semper. Semper, I do still like. I'm going to try and fit him in there where possible in places so I can find a spot for him. But he's just a little bit under my main guys for performance. You can see there 36 to 47, so he's about 10 under. So Michael Gregory is someone I'm going to have to put some time in. I can see big things for him. Eugen Semper, I'll find a way to plug him in because I do like him as an idea. But we'll see. And here he's going to pick up a victory, mainly for roll-up, legs on the rope. Classic pro wrestling. It's just really get Michael Gregory a win and get him into the win column so we can start going into this storyline. 49 is very decent. And up next, we're going to have something off the back of what we did last week, where it was Valhalla Born making their official in-ring debut, essentially, with Thorsten Sigurdsson as the guy in action. He wrestled Lothar Prime. He beat Lothar Prime. And here, he's going to... after that, he attacked Lothar Prime, and then Dylan Drama came in for the save. Dylan Drama and Lothar Prime have been... they're a tag team, but they've been having some miscommunication issues, and this was like Dylan Drama's attempt to like get back into the good things. So, what's going to happen here? Finally, a tag match, and in this case, it's not looking good for Half Form Elstead, and to be honest, he's been a bit of a nuisance backstage. So, if things don't change, Boston might be going singles, but we'll see. In this case, they actually do pick the victory, but not through a clean way. What's going to happen is Lothar Prime and Dylan Drama are going to have another miscommunication. And in my head, what I imagined happened here is something like Lothar goes for the tag, but Dylan isn't there. Not because he's been taken off, but because he chased Hat Force on the outside, so he wasn't there to make the tag. He notices it too late. He jumps up on the apron. At that point, Lothar gets sent into him, knocks him off the apron. Lothar turns, gets hit with some kind of move. The Blood Eagle is what I've called their tag team finisher. So I don't know what that would be. Blood Eagle. Tell you what it'll be. It'd be like something like, you know, like a gory special. Where like almost like a torture rack where it's up on the back and then the other one comes off the middle with a big fucking double axe handle, something like that, to the heart, the blood axe or the Blood Eagle, something like that. I'm glad we don't have to like agent them per se, but yeah, something like that, which means Valhalla Born pick up a victory as a tag team, and unfortunately for me, makes it a little bit harder because they have great chemistry, and I never planned for that. So, well, it's always positive. And it did get a 41 rating, which isn't bad. It's just that Hat Form Elstead is very clearly the weak link. I did, in my booking notes, tell him to keep it simple, so that's probably helped with the rating somewhat. And then afterwards, Dylan Drama is going to get into the ring. And he's going to look really angry and frustrated. He's like, in his head, Lothar dropped the ball on that one. And he got pinned again. But Lothar, obviously, he would have made that tag. It was Dylan Drama's fault that he wasn't there. And it was also Dylan Drama's fault that he jumped up on the apron and he got knocked off. But he's blaming Lothar. So even though he helps Lothar up, he does help him up. He started to like mouth off to him. He's talking increasingly loud, shouting at him. And Prime starts shouting back. He starts pointing out, like, why weren't you on the apron? Why weren't you there when I needed the tag? Why were you over there? And all that. And then all that's going to happen, Dylan's going to have enough. He's going to shove Prime, and Prime's going to shove him right back. And Prime is the man in this relationship. Dylan's a bit Miz-like. So what I imagine is Prime shoves him, and Dylan just goes on his ass. Dylan Drama falls right on his ass. And Prime's going to be pointing at him. The crowd's going to cheer at this point, I imagine. I hope. He's going to go, that's it. We're done. Not doing that now. You just raise your hands to me. We're done. This is over. He's going to turn. He's going to leave. But as his back's turned, Dylan's going to attack him. He's going to get on top of him. He's going to hit him, mount him, punches. Maybe hits him with his finisher. Which was called something like the dramatic finale or something like that. I don't know what it is. Didn't tell me. I imagine it's some kind of like it's going to be dramatic finale. Some kind of like stalling hangman's neck breaker, something like that. Maybe hits that move, but he's going to leave Prime line, and the whole time as he's hitting him, he's going to shame. We're done. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, and just deck him, and with that, the team, I think, is over, and Dylan Drama has just turned heel. Now it's going to get interesting. Now we're going to have Dylan Drama as a heel. I can take advantage of his sort of arrogant sort of qualities. I can get some promos out of him because I think he'll be okay with promos. And then hopefully, I had no ideas for Lothar Prime previously, but I am lacking in like mid-card faces a little bit. So I'm hoping maybe this will be a good coming out party for him as a singles. But we'll see. But I'm glad that was a success. Good going. Then we get that match between the Colossus and Paolo Gandolfini. Now, in this case, I've set it to a storytelling match because really the main thing here is Paolo trying to get over the sheer size of the Colossus. Now, I imagine because Colossus, I've told Colossus to keep it simple because he's very limited. He's not that bad, actually. An in-ring forms of 28 is higher than Hat 4, for example, given he's so young. So I could still do something with Colossus long-term. But imagine things like he's hitting the ropes, going for a crossbody, bouncing off Colossus, coming off the top, bouncing off Colossus. Colossus just uses that size. Some really simple stuff, like he could do that thing if Paolo will allow him of standing on his back by the ropes, if he can work it. But yes. But what's going to eventually happen is Paolo's going to catch Colossus. He's going to pick up the victory that way. And just like that, you know when Eva said failure would not be forgiven? Ooh, Colossus just failed. What's going to happen now? Is he going to get kicked out? Paolo in the win column once again. Up next, we're going to have... Oh, I didn't book an angle here. I should have, really. Where the manager of Hammer Anvil, who is something like... It's Monica or something? I forget. It never appears in the notes who's managing unless they get like a good ring... Unless they get like a good score. For some reason, I don't understand why that is the case. Because they do have a manager. No, it doesn't tell me, unfortunately. Oh well. But either way, what I imagine the situation was here is Ulf Host and Nicholas Kramer, Hammer and Anvil, who are my tag team champions, are basically going to say like, all right, or the manager is going to say, right, they've emptied the division, like they've beat everyone. And now, but given their win streak, it's only fair one of them gets an opportunity at a different title. So Ulf Host, as the one who got the victory last week, is going to go against Bret Heartbreak. I think Ulf Host got the victory last week, but never mind. If not, he's going to go for Bret Heartbreak's title, and they're going to have a decent match. I just wanted to see, really, because Nicholas Kramer has got decent ratings as a performer. So I want to see if Ulf Host is also up there, and he is, from the looks of things. He's doing quite well there. If they're over 40, I'd say they are usable long term. So yeah, in a decent match, Bret Heartbreak's going to defeat the tag team champion with the heart attack. Defense number 11 of the Intercontinental title. It's a very good title reign, Bret Heartbreak. But then he gets interrupted. Magnus Cage, very good, very good. You know what? Well done, Bret. How many events is that now? You've done well there. You're doing great. You're really an inspiration to us all. Specifically, you inspire me to keep one-upping you. Because you are yesterday's news. I'm the big thing now. So whatever you can do, just so I want you to know this. Just need you to know this. Anything you can do, I can do better. And it's only just a matter of time before I take that Intercontinental title from you. So you go ahead. You set the bar as high as you possibly can. And then watch me leap over it. Because I'm a premier athlete. I'm the next big thing. When I'm Intercontinental champion, I'll do everything you did with it and more. But in the meantime, got a confession to make. I'm bored. I'm bored, Bret. And I'm sure you're bored too. I'm bored of waiting for you to open up the contendership and allow me to take that belt from you like I deserve to. So, I want to make it interesting. Next month, EWA presents Freak Show. And I've noticed I don't actually have an opponent yet, and neither do you. And I imagine at this point, Bret's gonna, and the audience gonna hear like, oh, so are you two gonna have a match now? And Bret's gonna like, you know what, yeah, bring it on. Me and you now Freak Show. And Magnus, because he's a little shit ass, ultimately, is gonna go, no, don't get too excited. I don't want my belt off you just yet. But I do have a challenge for you. since you don't have an opponent and I don't have an opponent, here's the deal. Why don't I pick your opponent and you pick mine? We'll see. We'll see our friends in the higher places. We'll see who you can get, who can challenge me, and I'll see who I can get to challenge you. I won't even ask you to put the belt on the line. That'd be funny, because it'd be nice if because I think the guy I'm going to pick, and I've got a few people in mind, will beat you, and so it'd be funny to see that's how your title reign ends. But to be honest, no, I'd rather you keep it for now, so I can be the one to take it off you. So you don't have to put the belt on the line. No. But yeah, you pick my opponent, I pick yours. Do you agree? Or are you a coward? Are you afraid of a challenge, Bret? And Bret doesn't really need to speak, really. He can just sort of nod and go, you know what, you're on. Let's do it. So, spoiler alert, this is a cheap way I'm going to have to maybe bring in some people, but we'll see. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it just yet. I have a few ideas. But, yeah, we'll see. And up next, oh, Byron, you let me down, you piece of shit. Don't tell my boss I said that. Byron's a bit annoyed with me at the moment because I had to tell off his son. His son was being a knobhead backstage. And whenever I tell off Bret, Byron also gets angry. But either way, out comes Byron, the commissioner, and he's going to be out here in an official capacity. I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. As for the next contest, I must advise extreme caution. Bam Johansson and Hercules have been a destructive force for a long time. Brothers and tag partners, they destroyed everyone put in front of them. Now as rivals and opponents, they've been destroying each other and everyone around them. For that reason, I cannot guarantee that this next contest will remain in the ring. But what I will guarantee is that it's for the last time. We're going to have the end of this nonsense once and for all. For the loser of this next contest will be exiled from the EWA permanently. At the agreement of both men, this match will be fought under the following terms. No count out, no disqualifications, no holds barred. Let the mayhem commence. I should have got really Craig Charles to do that. But yeah. Never mind. But either way, it wasn't. I thought he's okay, you know. He just can't go off script. And he starts scripting him. But no, Byron has this thing where if I try to tell him to be scripted, he'll protest it and say he refused. So, oh well, arrogant, trying to run this company properly, and yeah. Anyway, and with that, we're going to have our match now. This is a bit of a gamble, I'm afraid. Oh, it worked. Good. Oof. I asked for a finish in my creative meeting. It gave me one involving Hercules, which works out for me quite well. And it was a success. So, it's worked. So for this match, it's just going to be a wild brawl, and Bam Bam cannot last that long, unfortunately. What's this? Blatantly cheating. I didn't ask for that. Never mind. Either way, Hercules and Bam Bam, I imagine all that's going to happen is going to meet on the entrance where they're going to brawl. I'd like to see. Couldn't book it, unfortunately. I would have liked to put like some kind of bump in there, but I haven't. I just wasn't allowed. Not good for my product, unfortunately. But fight around ringside, throw them into the stairs or the post, whatever. Finally gets in the ring. Maybe a brawl. Maybe go to the crowd. I hate that actually. Probably not going to the crowd, given my size. But whatever happens, some kind of finish. I didn't really think about this ahead of time. Maybe Hercules lift, which I imagine is kind of like a torture rack situation. finally gets Bam Bam up. Bam Bam could have bladed, I guess. And maybe he doesn't tap or anything. Maybe he just passes out. Oh, I'll tell you what would be good. If Bam Bam used like a cable or something like that to choke Hercules early in the match, or even like a belt or something like that. And what's going to happen is at the end, Hercules is on top. He's going to wrap it around Bam Bam's neck. He's going to choke him, but then pick him up in the torture rack as well, the Hercules lift. So he's going to have torture rack, but also with that around the neck, and he's going to squeeze. And Bam Bam goes out cold. The ref calls it off. Submission. Hercules drops his brother. It's over. Storyline has ended. There we go. And there's a huge difference in in-ring performance. Hercules is getting a 53, which is like one of the highest of the night. Bam Bam's getting 33, which is less than what Yugen Semper was getting. So, yeah, what does that tell you? So, with that, unfortunately, Bam Bam is done. And I have no plans to use him again, unfortunately. He's just too limited. I don't think I can release him because I think that'll annoy Hercules. But given his age, I'm thinking he'll probably retire. And given his... given that I fined him not too long ago, I might see if he just wants to be released from his contract. I'll see if I can do that. But we'll see. But either way, Hercules is the winner. He's out to win and ways. Bam Bam is done, I'm afraid. Which takes us to our title match. Now, who saw this coming? Probably quite a few of you. In a match between Kruge and Demolition Drebin, both massive men. Drebin is huge. He's like 6'8". So he'll match Kruge physically. And this is going to be a pretty standard brawl. It probably wasn't ever going to be great in ring. But what's going to happen is we're going to have some interference. Has anyone not noticed that Crusher von Steinberg's not been around as the leader of the Masters of Evil? He had that match with Kruge, didn't he, ages ago? And he lost, and he has not been seen since. Can you remember when Eva went... sorry, being Wally there. Can you remember when Eva said a sacrifice would be demanded to forgive past failures? Oh, it's all paid off. Oh, that wasn't just empty words. I was meaning something with that. Crusher von Steinberg is going to interfere in the match. A surprise interference because we thought he was kicked out. And he's going to help Demolition pick up the victory over Kruge. He's going to hit the choke slam on Kruge. He's going to get the pin. Demolition Drebin is the new EWA Universal Champion. Very much against the run of play. And wow. And at 47, that's about as good as I thought. Neither men are like super fantastic. Demolition Drebin's a bit inconsistent as well. He needs that. I think he needs a better performance. We'll see if we can do better than 35 next time. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, we've ended with a title change. So major goings on happening in EWA. Bam Bam is gone. Hercules is on a victory run now. Paulo's in winning ways. We've got tag champions who are struggling for contenders. We've got a women's champion who's just actually been defeated technically for the first time and has contenders nipping at her heels. We've got Michael Gregory, who's doing bits as well. And obviously Bret and Magnus, they're on a collision course. Who are they going to pick? Fun things are happening. Now, overall, let's see what rating that gets us. 48. It's about run-of-the-mill what we've been getting. We will get a 50 one of these days, and we're still increasing in popularity. Right, so, with that, next time, EWA presents Freak Show, and we're going to have Magnus Cage versus a mystery opponent picked by Bret, and vice versa. Bret versus a mystery opponent picked by Magnus. Demolition Drebin is going to defend the belt, but against who? You'll have to wait and see. Also, may as well tell you now, we're going to try and have Zofia versus Mia for the women's title, because I think that'll be a good match. And everything else, Still to be decided, I'm afraid. But yes, thanks very much, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next week.